Well, good morning, Beth. Thank you very much indeed for coming in. And Beth, you are from Musici, Ireland. Now I guess that's super
right.
Carefully because you, well, as you say, told me off before they get Musici.
Oh yeah, we get called a lot of things. Musici as well. I thought it was really obvious when I chose the name, but obviously not. It's the Italian for music.
Indeed it is, yeah, I know. No, there have been people in the team, indeed, who calls it Musici, and it's like, no, that's not what it is. So tell me, so you're coming in for our Sunday morning calm music slot, dare I say it?
It was calm.
You never exactly, there you go. Well, it's the Sunday morning is the kind of like post-Saturday late night thing. However, I'm pretty sure the music is not entirely calm.
Actually, it does fit fairly well. We've got some very meditative kind of sounding. Belinda Buckley Trio we're doing, Fiol is a really beautiful piece. It's all based on Hardanger fiddle sounds. So it makes the three players sound like one instrument, and it's very meditative and calm. It's beautiful, yeah, so that'll be nice.
So for the uninitiated, those of us who are not specialists in Nordic stringed instruments, Hardanger fiddles are the ones that have sympathetic strings, aren't they?
Yeah,
so it has a sort of drone that kind of sticks around whilst it's
right,
It has a slightly steely sound.
It can be, yeah, and there's kind of fancy ornamentation and stuff like that. It's a really beautiful piece, yeah.
Yeah, so let's go back to the beginning. Musici are coming with their chamber ensemble.
Yeah, we're a chamber collective. Yeah.
And chamber collective.
Yeah, just because we perform in loads of different variations. So sometimes we're with singers and strings, sometimes it could be brass, wind and strings, sometimes it could be piano and singer, so we just have a big group of players that
You're a flexible bunch.
Yes.
Right, okay. And you have just recorded a CD.
That's right, yeah, our first album, yeah.
And the music that you're performing with us on Sunday morning is entirely from that CD?
Yeah, it's entirely.
We're not doing the whole CD, are we?
No, it would be too long, I think, for a Sunday morning.
Right, okay.
But I mean, the main focal point is a new concerto for viola and chamber ensemble.
And who's playing the viola part? Excellent. So it's not only the person who runs it, but also the person who's the soloist.
I know, it does look a bit narcissistic, doesn't it? But we've had a really amazing working relationship with the composer Liam Bates for like over a decade, and it's been a running joke all that time. Oh, you really have to write me a concerto someday, And a couple of years ago, the stars aligned, and it was time. And obviously, it made sense to do it with my ensemble. You know. And I was very particular when I commissioned him that I really did want it to be a chamber concerto, because one of my bugbears with viola, especially contemporary viola concertos, is they can be quite large ensembles, orchestral pieces, and often quite weird instrumentation as well, which can make it really costly to put on. So it means we don't get many performance opportunities as solo violists to perform things. And so I wanted something that was really accessible to listen to, and something that was really accessible to program. And he's totally delivered on both.
And so you say chamber ensemble. What are the instruments that are in the ensemble?
Yeah. So there are 9 players in the ensemble. So we have a string quartet, double bass, harp, flute, clarinet, and French horn.
This is not a test. That's a fairly normal lineup, kind of apart from the harp.
Yeah, but I mean, you need it. Like he writes so well with harp as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Liam is from where exactly?
Well, I know him because I live in Wexford and he lives in Wexford, and we kind of our paths crossed. But Liam his background is in film composing, and that really comes across in the piece. There's these beautiful sweeping melodies, and the title Earthrise, it's all about how, as humans, we're kind of making a bit of a mess of the planet.
Apparently so, yes.
Yeah, but what he loved is the image of whatever we do, there'll always be a new sprout. The Earth will be fine, and it's kind of based around those sort of ideas.
Right, lovely. And during the concert, we're hoping to have a moment between you and Liam where you actually talk about the piece, so we can go into more depth then. So no spoiler alerts for the audience right now. Tell me a little bit about the rest of the programme. So we have a piece by Deirdre Gribben, Amanda Feary, and Linda Buckley.
Yes.
They were chosen why?
Well, I contacted a lot. I really wanted to do a whole album of living Irish composers. That was the premise for the CD. And I just wrote loads of emails to composers and said, have you got anything that's never been recorded before? And that was kind of the other thing. I wanted chamber music that hadn't already been put on the CD. And these are kind of the pieces they came back, and it quickly became apparent that actually everything sort of matched this arc of environment or the universe, the earth, that sort of thing. So they did the ribbon pieces before the moon shattered and shone again. And it's a really, it's quite an amazing piece actually. It uses a lot of effects within the string quartet, and she creates some really interesting sounds.
Wow, wonderful.
Yeah.
And so we have that Hardanger fiddle. Is that Linda's piece?
Yeah.
And the remaining one is Amanda Feary, and that's Square Movement.
Yeah.
It's quite an abstract title.
That's this violin and viola duet.
Right.
And it's a very different piece to the others. It's probably the most contemporary of them, I'd say. And I believe she wrote it at a time where she was struggling to sort of get time to focus on one thing. So she actually, I think she wrote it in several sections at different points in a year or something.
Right, okay.
So there are very clear sections. You know, the beginning's quite sort of, well, okay, what's happening? Attacking your instrument slightly, but then it sort of finishes with this sort of beautiful sort of drony type tune at the end. So it's a really interesting piece.
Wow,
it's technically quite difficult.
Excellent.
But yeah.
We like hard stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It's exciting to play anyway. Yeah.
That's very good. And what are your plans for Musici Ireland next? What's your next moves after the album's out?
Well, at the moment we're delighted to be touring our first original work that we produced last year. It's called A Mother's Voice.
Oh yeah.
And it's a multidisciplinary work with an art installation, a live string quartet, animation, and very importantly, it features the recorded testimony of 3 survivors of mother and baby homes.
Right.
It's a really moving piece, but it's not completely depressing to go to. We do leave with a slight sort of uplift feel.
Right.
And again, it's kind of a relationship we've had with Linda Buckley. Herself and her sister Irene wrote the music for that.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
So, and we're currently in development with our second original work, which again is a multidisciplinary piece that's sort of exploring unseen disability. And we've actually been developing some of that this week, which is very exciting. And that's with English composer Libby Crode.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so
wow,
exciting.
wonderful. Well, all strength to your elbow. It's done very, very exciting works.
Yeah.
So great. Well, we'll look forward to hearing you on Sunday the 28th of April. Let's get the date correct. And thank you very, very much indeed for coming to talk to us.
Thanks so much, John.
Thanks, Beth.